65! We have our friend here today, Mr. Khalid.
Hi.
Shirogane, the OP mat designer. Today we have to do a build for this board, which is called the IRON165. It basically kicked off a whole bunch of, let's just call it, inspirations. There was a period of time that just had a lot of 65% coming out during COVID because everyone was bored and everyone wanted to make. So this is just a revisit and just a name drop every single 65% that I can think of. The reason why IRON165 in particular is because this one particular keyboard, the first round of it, a lot of people compared it directly to the Keychron 1/65 or 2/65. At the time, the most expensive aftermarket keyboard you could get. Basically, this went for like about 450 to 480 US at the first round of group buy. In the aftermarket, basically, when this was fulfilled and shipped, right, it went batshit crazy. The first few units that came out on the aftermarket were like, 1.2, 1.5k USD, and it climbed all the way up to like 2 point something k USD, if I remember correctly. The hype for this was insane because the quality control was insanely good. It looked very clean, very nice, and it's just a board that everyone's like, oh my god, we need to get in on this. The trend recently in the past like 1 year or so has been getting a keyboard like this for as cheap as possible. Case in point, we have a few very famous examples. One right here, which is the QK65. So this is made from Qwerty Keys. They basically made a 65% gasket mount. Basically, it's really cheap. It's a full aluminum keyboard. It's heavy, chunky. It feels solid. Yeah, it sounds really amazing. And you can have this for under like 200 US, fully built. The few cheapest ones that we have, well, there are actually quite a lot because they're all very, very recent, released in like the past 6 months or a year. The most absolute dirt cheap ones that we have here, it's a glorious. They're friends of ours, we do sell the brand. They don't make like the absolute best keyboards in the world, but they're so cheap. They're easy to get into. It's got a bit of heft to it even. Like you carry that and you're like, holy shit, it's heavier than I expected.
Oh, it's actually metal on top.
That's one of the options. We built a few. They do sound, actually to me, do sound decent. Really easy to get into lah. Not exactly the best option, but I would say, you know, it's dirt cheap. I'll give it a pass for that. So this is something that sort of drove the whole community quite wild as well because this had the same effect of the IRON165 where it cost like 100 US and people were flipping this for like 200 US because there was such a limited supply. This is the NK65 from, the entry edition from Novelkeys. So they basically made it an entry edition because, you know, it's made of plastic. Everyone can get into it. Just slap on keycaps, slap on switches, you're done. Very simple, very painless to build. It's a bit antiquated because it's sort of this weird tray top bottom mount sound, but this drove basically a lot of people into the hobby as well. It brought a lot of newcomers. Everyone like, holy shit, this is actually affordable. I don't have to spend like $400 on some shitty Razer mechanical keyboard. And the best part about it is that it came basically fully stocked with a cable, a case, carrying case, everything that you need to put it together. All you need is just, your switches and your keycaps and you can put it together. I will get into another one now, which is very similar to the NK65. This is my personal baby. It's the KBD67 Lite. So this is the round 2 version. This also drove up like the hype, but because KBDFans is based in China, they could push out more numbers faster, more easily, so they have multiple runs of it. The idea is the same. It's a 65%. It's gasket mounted. Like people were comparing this to the NK and they're saying this is better because this is actually gasket mounted.
The cool thing about the KBD67 Lite is that on KBDFans they actually have a case upgrade where you can get a metallic case instead, so you could get one and you can still use the same PCB for it.
Yeah, you can use exactly the same build. So this was about 110 US back then. Really, really cheap, really, really inexpensive. And they provided everything as well. Carrying case, stabilizers. You had to build it yourself a little bit more. Yeah, the cable. But also another break game point because a lot of people were just like buying this and like recommending it to your friends because it's light, it's easy to use, it's simple, and you could even make it wireless with the wireless PCB.
Oh yes, I forgot about that. This board,
look at that color.
This board is amazing. It's so pretty and it's metal.
You can choose a different weight for it as well to upgrade it. So this is the Meletrix Zoom65. This was the one that I think, even when I tried it, like it blew quite a lot of things out of the water because for what, $160 base kit, you could get this also with stabilizers, with your plate, with your PCB, everything. You could even make it wireless if you wanted to. You could customize so many different things because they had, I think, 8 or 9 different colors. So this is the weight itself. You can change this to something else. Yeah, different colors. You want it sandblasted, you want it fully polished. Yeah, you have a knob here at the top right as well. So
amazing colors, amazing anodization or I guess
And
it's
even amazing sound. I mean,
amazing sound. Bro.
it is foamed up a little bit, but it is an amazing sound.
The Q2 is another one of
Yeah.
your great budget boards.
It's-
The 65% with a knob.
This is designed by Keychron. This basically goes up like one price tier. It's just like a $10 or $20 more expensive than the Zoom. So it goes for about $169, $179 bare bones. Simple board again, easy gasket mount. Actual flex, you can actually see flex on it. Metal chunky, sounds decent with some modification.
If you like things that shine, it's a really expensive board right now. It's called the Iskar 65 or just the Iskar. And if you like really shiny boards, you can see the butt, it's stainless steel, and it's
I mean, it literally got dirty,
it's
but
dirty lah right now because we keep touching. Hey, look, it's booked. So this is a stainless steel rim. It comes in about 4 colors, which is rose gold, black PVD, brass, and also stainless steel. And also with the back, again, rose gold, black PVD, stainless steel, and brass. This is more of the high-end board. Costs about $429 USD.
It's so nice. You can see your future in it.
Yeah. Amazing. Alpine 65 is a great board. Round 2 is coming soon. The Alpine itself is relatively a lot cheaper than the Iskar. It costs about $315 USD.
I'm just gonna give initial impression because I really never tried this before. I always thought it was very like just another like 65% blocker board because there was so many coming out at that time. I just didn't really care much about it. And what I felt was really weird about this was that this little nav cluster here is like
It's an exploded lens cluster.
yeah, it's an exploded nav cluster. But what a lot of people do is you see like with this, the nav cluster is up here in line with these. This they shifted it down and then they basically attached it to this arrow key section, which is really weird to me, but if it works, it works, you know. They have more space here to put the little badge, so it is nice. A little chunky board. We have 3 keyboards here that they are made using this material called polycarbonate, but they use a different grade of polycarbonate where it's a lot stiffer, a lot harder, and they give you this little frosted like acrylic look. The most inexpensive one of them is something that we are selling.
Where?
Where?
Mecha.store.
At mecha.store.
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 Check them out, motherfucker.
This is the Ciel 65, Ciel 65. What it essentially is a polycarbonate Bakeneko 65 that's CNC. It's an O-ring gummy worm mounted with a little weight on the back. It has a different sound. People say it's like, oh yeah, why do you use polycarbonate? One of the biggest things is sound, definitely. So there are 2 more here. This is the Fuji 65
Fuji 65.
special edition. So this took a bit after the IRON165 where they also have your little badge. It is a top mount keyboard, a very simple design. They use a brass plate. They have this little like TGR style weight where you know the weight goes around and sits near the bump port and is inset into the keyboard itself. So this is the kind of the mid-range at group buy retail price. In the aftermarket, it does go for quite a bit more, but at the moment, I don't know. The hype for this board was quite big at one point and it kind of died out. I won't comment much on this other than the fact that, you know, it's another example of a board that stemmed from this. This one is one that I would say is my personal favorite. Well, it's a polycarbonate case, polycarbonate plate. So the unique thing about this is designed by Linworks. They basically made their own style where you have this curve at the side, which is incredibly hard to machine. 1 curved surface, 2 curved surface, and 3, this is a flat surface technically, but doing 3 fillets for this side makes it incredibly expensive, incredibly hard to do. The corners here are rounded as well, and it goes around. It's an engineering marvel for me, and I just love the way it looks. I love the way it sounds. And this is a weight done by my friend. Shout out to Era.
Hey,
he
Era
basically
patina.
did patina, like custom patina for me. This at cost price, or at least at retail, was supposed to be, I believe, 580 US. In the aftermarket, now the prices are not so hot, but it has gone up quite a bit in the past. People don't tend to like this because this is a sandwich mount board. This is like, oh, it's stiff. But to me, the sound of this is probably one of my favorites. This is the ID67 Crystal. Interesting looking board because this uses acrylic to make like the case itself. So this is the 3rd of its kind material. So you can see it's clear, completely clear.
Wow!
The only thing is acrylic is also very hard to process and shit because you have to resin coat it to make it like
Shiny.
this.
see-through.
Yeah, and then a lot of things can happen like micro scratches or micro cracks. This is from a design studio that I used to follow quite a while ago. It's Grey Studios. They basically just designed this, the Thing 6.5. I like it because they do wacky, crazy design. Like look at this. It shows on camera, right? Yeah, so like that crazy filleting there. The badge, right? They took the badge idea and they made it like, hey, let's make it magnetic and you can like
Ooh.
swap it out. So this has like LEDs below it, so that when you put it on, this will technically light up. There we go.
Nice.
Yeah, so it lights up. It does follow the formula that a lot of people adopted at the time, where it's basically power on gasket strips, clamp the plate together, slap it in, you have a gasket mount keyboard, blocker badge, and this like little 0.5 unit blocker to separate the arrow keys from your function. This was about 450 US all in, because it's e-coated as well, so it does cost a little bit more. This here is our colleague's board, which we just stole from her because, you know...
Very pretty. The board.
Definitely the board.
Sus. Anyway, this one, I like the look of it. So you see, this has a very, very interesting like little line that, you know, closes, that converges as you go to the front. And then there's this little, it just goes all around the keyboard. This is the conventional wing keyless, where you have a 1 unit blocker and then this.
Yeah, the Live 65 is...
How much?
I think it ran for like 415 US dollars.
About there.
I
Again,
guess-
in that same $400 ballpark, which a lot of keyboards, at least a lot of metal keyboards seem to like gravitate around.
Alright, now off to the build.
We'll be moving on to building the IRON165 fucking finally.
IRON165.
But the screws are tight as
Before
well.
that,
So.
you want to talk about the desk mat? Or
Should we talk about the desk mat? Yes, we should! So this is the Shophouse desk mat, designed by our friend Switch Lab, on sale in stock right now. We're done with the build. It took a while because this is a solid build.
Very pretty. We have changed the badge to a copper badge and the weight to a copper weight.
Yeah, one of the nice things that Iron Smith and Bruno has done also is that they made the badge, like you could change it out with different colors, even artisanal ones, like
Yeah.
the one from Lite. We'll get into the build for it. It's a forged carbon plate instead of the stock aluminium plate, so it'll have a slightly different sound compared to an aluminium built IRON165. We're using the Emogogo Cream linear switches, which are a long pole linear switch, exclusively available on
mecha.store. Emogogo go. Nickelodeon.
Yeah, and we're using Cat Atlantis keycaps. So these are one of the first Cat double shot keycaps out there. The previous ones are all dice up or reverse dice up. And then, you know, they have a unique profile to it. There's a unique font as well.
Final thoughts.
Yeah, final thoughts. I kind of like the way it sounds. The forged carbon plate has this more unique, slightly higher pitch sound, which not a lot of people will like, because now the meta has shifted to like, oh, let's foam the shit out of everything. I mean, a few things that I find, I don't know if it's the keycaps or the switches or just a combination of multiple factors, but the enter key sounds meh. So does this shift. So these two keys sound really weird.
I was thinking that it could be an acoustic issue with the board itself.
Yeah, it's quite common on boards with this like particular layout blocker here with this arrow keys pushed up. The shift will always end up sounding a little bit funky. I mean, general thoughts, beautiful looking board. Sound, it won't be for everyone, but it is quite niche and quite unique. Typing feel will be amazing, and it's just a generally a damn beautiful board now.
I do like the look of the board itself. Aesthetically, the copper and the teal is just a great combination, to be honest. And the back, the copper and the black, it's literally perfect aesthetically. But honestly, I'm more of a sound guy myself, and I prefer louder boards. The IRON165, I realized, do sound a little bit muted. Overall, I will give the sound a 4 out of 5. Aesthetically, 5 out of 5. It's an IRON165. You literally can flex this and everybody will be like, oh shit, it's an iron.
Yeah, the anodization is spot on. The colors are amazing.
Yep.
I'll just display it like that. That's just perfect. If you'd like to try any of these keyboards that we featured, you can come down to Mecha. If you're lucky, they might be there. But other than that, we're sponsored by
Man!